It might be from there now. Yes. Okay, start from this screen.
Okay. During my mind presentation, I can either do this on the slide or we're gonna find. That we don't sign anything in the first week. I just want to give. I don't know what to think. And then we will comps and show them the market trends and what's going on in the different subdivisions. I did put a flyer that's on the printer, a big flyer that has the infographic by Staples. I'll go ahead. Thank you.
Hold on one second. Can you guys hear Fiona okay, Christy? It's just an echo. This is the right setting, so I don't know why it's not. Is this working now? Okay, but Nellie, can you hear Fiona now?
Can you hear me, Nellie? Hey, Frankie, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I can hear you just fine, but I hear an echo from her. So maybe whatever's recording your voice needs to be closer to her.
Well, we can't. Can you take off that microphone?
Does that make sense? Like maybe move the microphone closer to her because it's just like an echo.
I'm holding the microphone.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Oh, good.
I can hear that just fine.
All right.
I don't know why it didn't work.
Third tries a charm. Does anyone need me to go over this again?
Yes.
Okay. So the buyer presentation can be done on the fly or in the office. I have a nice little packet of information that I hand out and that I bring on my showings. The three key points we want to touch on, the three key docs are your information about brokerage services, your general terms, and your buyer rep. I make it clear to my client when we meet that they're not required to sign anything on our initial meeting. After 2 or 3 showings, I will ask them to sign a representation agreement, but I want to make sure their expectations are in line with what I have in plan, you know, like we're going to be a good match together. We talk about commission responsibility, how I'm going to get paid, and then I pull comps that show the market trends in certain neighborhoods. So this is how I set up my mini CMAs. I just go and do a quick search. This is Laurel Mountain Ranch. I pulled up all the sales in the last 3 months. I set it up in a way that shows the original list price, if it was price changed, what it sold for, seller concession days on market, price per square foot list, price per square foot sold, and then you have your house data, and then the closing date. So the reason I like this for my buyer clients, this house here listed at 290, it closed at 326. They paid no closing costs, closed in 24 days. This one was 295, sold for 315, no closing costs. So really quickly, your clients can get an idea of what's going on in the neighborhood. And we're not going to be able to go in at list or 20% below or whatever great Aunt Sally said they did 20 years ago, does not apply today. So how I get to this search page. So I create a separate CMA, and I'll show you where we go, but I title it my CMA. And these are all the criteria that I just went over with y'all, the list price, sold price, seller concessions, etc. So what you do is you pull up your basic search, and then you go up here to the top and you hit modify. And then you can save it, those criteria that I just showed you, I title it my CMA, and then on the drop down box, all the way to the bottom, that's where it is.
Can I interject for something?
Absolutely.
For some agents won't know, just for some agents, like how she got here, do y'all know, like where you do the list, do the search, and then you put in your neighborhood, and then like you put in like X option, blah, 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 and that's when you got this list, and from here, you go to modify, like some people don't know, especially the newer agents.
Come see me or walk through. So basically just go through a basic search. I type in the subdivision. I do 3 months back. 3 months I feel is pretty accurate. You could go 6 months, but you kind of want to look at your numbers. So like you want to get a good sampling of properties. You know, if you have 3, you're going to want to pull a little bit more. This one, there was a lot, so I just did 5 bedrooms. You can change the square footage. 1 story, 2 story, new homes, pre-owned. You want to put that in because they're not priced the same. So then anyway, any search I do, I just go to the drop down my CMA and print it up. It takes me about a minute. So it's really easy to print that on every house if you want. Because your client's going to be in the house. I love it. What do we offer? Well, I don't know. But I can pull up this and then I have all the information on me. Yep. So negotiating points when you're writing an offer. These are all things you want to talk to your buyer about. You know, seller concessions, who's paying your closing costs, title policy. Do you have money to pay for the title policy? That's going to help get your offer accepted. Home warranty, do you really need one or can you buy one after the sale? Over asking. What are you going to do if you list over asking? Do you have the money to pay the difference? Earnest and option fee. You know, more earnest money, more skin in the game. High option fee, good way to get your offer accepted. And the days of your option period. You know, how many days do you want? 5 days? 3 days? We don't see a whole lot of 10 days anymore. Next slide. And then the most important part with getting your offers accepted and buyer expectation is working with your lender. Like you need to know upfront how much cash your buyer has. We can write an offer $50,000 above list price. Doesn't mean anything if they don't have the cash for the difference. You know, what can you offer over asking? Can they cover the costs in case of an appraisal shortage? Can they cover 5,000, 10,000, 20,000? You know, you can offer over asking and then say that you can only cover so much if it's short. And then be sure your buyer is clear of their cash to close. We don't want them going to the closing table and they owe 30 grand and they don't have it. So that's really have on that presentation. In my little book, I know this isn't a buyer presentation class, but in my little book, I like to pull out funds needed for closing. So we go over earnest money, option money, inspection fees, and appraisal fees. And then I also provide them with a list of trusted inspectors, people I've worked with in the past. It's always a good idea not to just recommend one, release you from liability. And then I think April's going to go over her.
And now we will, yes.
Do you have any questions for me on this stuff? Will it help get offers accepted? Maybe.
Like a Libby. Oh, no. And I have old Remax stuff on there.
The commission thing is really important, sorry, because a lot of these houses are offering 1%, 2%. My buyers need to know my commission is 3%. And if we go look at a house, you're gonna be paying the difference. But I'll give them the option, do you guys want to look at the house and potentially pay 2% of my commission? Or you just wanna scratch it and go to the next one? I usually don't.
But she sets that expectation, right? And this is where it's different between me and her, like, because I don't, like, you know, like, yes, we fill out that paperwork and you say 3%, but like, I mean, I'll still show whatever to my clients. I'll still, you know, and I know Bobby's very strict on saying like, okay, look, they're only paying agents 2.5. You're responsible for the other 0.5% or 1.5%, which I feel like I should. Maybe I slight myself by not doing it, but I just think like buyers are already paying so much right now, like they're going to pay my commission on top of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a different mindset and it's what works for you. Like,
I have never charged a buyer client for my
commission.
But she sets that
But I
expectation.
want them to know upfront, if I'm showing a house and they're paying no commission, I'm not working for free.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone's gonna have to come up with the money
Which is
somewhere.
good. It protects you from possibly showing a house that you're not going to make it, or if they do decide they really want to see that house and then you're giving them the whatever, you don't make them pay, then they see that you're helping them out a lot by
Right.
not taking that extra whatever 1%, 1.5%.
The reason
So,
why I feel it's important is, for sell by owners. Because that
Oh,
way we
yeah.
always have the conversation, so I don't really sell these villas, but if they found one and they want me to sell it, sure. But they're gonna know they're gonna pay my commission on top of that.
okay, so mine is actually a buyer's presentation. I'm going to pass around what I take to my clients. And like Fiona said in the beginning, like we do stuff very, very different, right? So I'm taking you guys through is like I would meeting my buyer. This is my buyer's presentation. This is how I go through it with them. Now, like Fiona said, maybe sometimes I meet them at a coffee shop right before we're going to go see houses. So I might have some houses picked already for them. Sometimes I meet them here at the office. Sometimes I do it online if they're overseas, but or overseas or out of town or whatever. I like to just kind of introduce myself, get to know the person. If we're meeting here in the office, you connect with them. You know, I mean, I'm definitely doing this as a buyer's presentation along with, I guess, tips and tricks. I don't know. So I would introduce myself. We're going to sit down. Here's my presentation I'm going to go through with you. Next slide. You know, this is me, obviously. I like to give them a little bit about me. And like, as I go through, you'll see my presentation. I'm flipping through the slides with them, kind of going over it. And I, you know, I have 4 kiddos. I was prior Air Force. It really helps me to connect with my military clients. I don't always hit every single topic. I leave them with this, but I joined on a top team. I've sold over 130 homes. Like I know what I'm talking about. I like to give them sustenance to know that I have done this. I'm not, a beginner. For my beginner people who are listening are going to watch this. If you don't have numbers like this, if you don't have sold 26 homes last year, whatever, use our office numbers. You know what I mean? Like you can also use like our offices in the top 5 or top 10. Frankie has all those stats for us. So like if you're on a team, use your team numbers. Like you would just want to give them something showing that you have some type of credentials and background to what you're doing. And then I also pride myself in being good at communication. I probably over communicate. It's the story of my life. But next slide. My goals for you, this is what we're going to go through in the rest of the slide, my presentation. Finding the right home for you, obviously. Smooth transaction. Buying a home is stressful. Buying a home right now is stressful. So I really like to try to take that pressure. And this is what I tell them. I'm trying to help you in this process. I like to try to take some pressure off of you as we go through the transaction. I want to provide guidance for you, for neighborhoods, for, whatever. Again, with the communication, if you text me, I'm going to answer you. If I'm with another client, I probably won't answer right away, but I will get back to you within an hour or two. I'm very, unless you text me in the middle of the night, right, which some people do, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I have vendor information that once we go through repairs and stuff like that, that we can reach out to if we need, any backup information, or once you buy your house, if you need anything for your home. Next slide. So what buyers need to know, and I'm telling this is our buyer's expectation sheet, right? This is like our market in San Antonio is so hot right now. I need to update this, but I do, 2020, the average home was on market for 44 days. This includes closing, right? We all know that closing can be whatever. It's usually listed right now for less than a freaking week. If it's in a good neighborhood, I go over that with them. The median home price was $252. Average was 270. Now they're in the 300s. And that's exactly what Fiona just printed up for you guys. Like if you guys go to Sabre, you can find out what the median is. So I need to up this, but right now, 2021, we say is nuts. Like I love what Fiona did with having that little mini CMA, like right away, right off the bat to like show them you can offer this. And of course, before I offer in any home, I do a CMA, I send it to my clients, and I show like, no one's offering under, no one's offering asking. Like if you want to offer over, get concessions, like I like to express that right then and there with them. And so I'm going to tag along on her little mini CMA just to show like, hey, this is a neighborhood, whether it's when they're looking at it or not, this is what's winning. So I really love that she does that. Next slide.
Can I jump in real quick?
Mhm.
That's the infographic. Yeah.
It's on the Facebook page and the.
I just said it too when you were
Okay,
up there.
good. Because yeah, this is the thing that I like.
That's like way more updated. I mean, like on this sheet, this says for August of 2021, days on market, 24. 12.75% is 199 and below. 200 to 499 average is 73% of homes in our city are 200 to 499. 13% are over 500,000. Median price 298, average price 353. So that's what I would use to update. A lot, very considerable over.
They updated every month.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason this is great is if I got a client that's at 150, I'm like, there's only 12% of the homes in the neighborhood that are under 200. 150 is gonna be a hard price.
Okay, so the next couple of slides are going to be the what I say is 6 steps for purchasing your new home. We're going to go over the pre-approval, discussing your needs and wants, your property search, making an offer, and going under contract and closing. So next slide. Did it? That's like the last one. I'm all like, that was easy. We're done. So this is very important, you guys. This is the pre-approval process. This is if you're just meeting your people. I am not showing you homes if you don't have a pre-approval letter. Like I've learned my lesson on that one. The first thing I want to do is get you with Josh at Rosado Mortgage or one of my other preferred lenders and get you pre-approved. And this is also where Fiona, like this is where I would talk about like, do you have, money for this? And it's setting the expectation for VA clients, because there's still a lot of people out there, if it's their first time buyers, they think VA is no money down. Well, that's not true. Like it's no money for closing or not, I'm sorry, it's no money for down payment, but you still have closing costs. And I really do try to hit my people right off the bat with, if you're getting a pre-owned, you're going to have closing costs. It's really hard to get concessions now. That's something to set your expectation for.
Now, this is where I'm different from April, because I will show a house without a pre-home.
I would back in the day. I
will
mean,
now, but I will screen them. I will find out their credit score. If they're a 580 or a 560, not today. But,
yeah,
if
I mean, I don't ever ask those questions. Like I'm if it's a friend, I might say, hey, let's go see this house. And then that's when I'm saying like, oh, have you been approved or whatever? But I'm pretty quick to say, do you have a pre-approval letter?
I will look around and say, are you guys paying cash or you finance? We'll probably finance. Did you know what kind of loan? No, well, you have to know your credit score. Oh, it's a 420. Okay, well, we're not gonna get a loan, so.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, I will show a house without a pre-home. People
Yeah.
hate me for that, but.
I mean, I think it's
may
just
have money,
whatever.
Grandma may have money, the neighbor, it's all about relationships, shaking hands and opening doors.
well, and I think it just depends on too, like if you're busy at the time or not, right? Like if you're not that busy and you want to go, like it's your time, like go do whatever you want. So just fill it out. I mean, that's up to you. And then, but definitely making sure like, hey, we want to get you pre-approved. This is when you ask the questions about like, what type of loan are you going to be? Are you able to do conventional VA, FHA, blah, 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 discussing your needs and wants. This is when I'm trying to set them up on a search. What's important to you, and then letting them know like in today's world, and usually it's like, you've got to kind of rank them out, right? Like there's no perfect house out there. And I tell my clients that like, like there's no unicorns for darn sure. But like, this is where I'm getting there, like, what schools are important to you, bedrooms, 1-story, 2-story, neighborhoods, whatever. And then just letting them know, like, we've got to rank too, because not every house is going to check every box. Just kind of trying to set realistic expectations for your people. Next slide. And communicate with me if your search is different. It's really easy to change up your search. If we see we're not seeing anything, it's probably not out there, or I need to expand your search. I go over this with them, that the MLS that I set them up on is what our agents use here in the city for the most part. And it's what feeds out to Realtor, Zillow, and Trulia. And that if they see something on one of those sites that I'm not sending to them, send it to me so I can double check if it's out there. Sometimes those sites don't update for whatever reason, or maybe I need to expand the search or change it up. So I also really like to help myself with this one. And when I was on the team, they taught me schedule your show, like trying to set up the expectation for scheduling showings. This is when you want to get that client, because I know that we've all had those clients that like, here's 5 houses I want to see. And then you set them up. And then it's like that morning you're on your way after you've had everything mapped out, everything planned out. And then they want to add 3 different houses. And you're like, so this is where I try to say, like, it's really important that you try to get me what you want to see the night before. That way I can schedule and map things out, because with San Antonio and traffic, like I always just try to set myself up for success and to not look like I'm frazzled the next day and adding stuff in, even though it's going to happen anyways. Just letting them know what you have to do to get it set up, and that sellers have to approve stuff. Next step would be making an offer. We found the house that you love, and we want to make an offer, and we want to make a good offer. And this is again where your good CMA comes in. So I do a CMA for them, either meet with them in person or go over the phone. I email it to them to where we show, look, people are offering 20,000 over, 15,000 over, no closing costs are being given. Can you pay title policy? Can you pay these things? How bad do you want this house? Are we going to go through do you need to lose 5 houses before we get the right one, or do we want to go now? Next one. So I like to set them up for knowing the cost too, because a lot of people just want to go buy a house and they don't realize that there's money that needs to come out of your pocket. And we want to make sure these people have this money to go under contract, because it has happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to other agents, where you get there, you've shown them 15 homes and they want to buy one. And then they're like, wait, I got to put earnest money down. So you need to tell your people, this is what we have. The expectations of cost, this definitely needs to change right now. And I would probably say that if I presented this one for option period, I love Jane. For option period, I really tell them right now we're 5 to 7 days, used to be $10 a day. I'm going in at $20, $25 a day. And that's just me being realistic. Like, and that's work on you. You have to know, can you get your inspector out there in 5 to 7 days? Do you have multiple inspectors that you can reach out to? Because inspectors are busy too. You guys need to know that when you're making that offer, you're guiding your people. You need to know, I can pull off a 5-day option. I can pull off a 7-day option. And this is what I think it should be. I've had a lot of good luck with 5 days and $200. Earnest money, 1% of the price of the home. This is where you want to make sure your people know that they need that 1% within 3 days of going under contract. Once everybody signs, they need it there at the title company. Of course, new builds are different. And I tell my people that too, because that's sometimes how you can tell people if they don't have money, well, maybe we need to go look at just new builds. Maybe we need to stay away from pre-owns. We've got to go look at new builds, because some new builds are still taking just 500 or 1,000, correct? DR Horton is. DR Horton is at Valley Ranch and Redbird. Yeah, Valley Ranch was 500.
Oh, Valley Ranch was like 1% less.
Oh.
That probably was 2 months ago when it was all crazy.
Yeah, well, and I mean, because they're so behind, like Valley Ranch is giving people back their earnest money too, since they're so far behind. Definitely remind them that you want to get the inspection, okay? And I know Fiona had this on her sheet, and this is like, I love what Fiona did when she gives that piece of paper, which I'm going to copy that too. Like here with my listing or my buyer's presentation packet, I'll put in the docs for them to go over, kind of how she did, because I don't make them sign anything when I meet them either. I will take people out and I will show them a couple homes before we sign everything, just to get a feel for how they're going to be and how you're going to be. But make sure they know they can have an inspection that's about $300 to $500. I always get my people to get an inspection, but like you said, do you want an inspection? You don't have to have it. Right. And remember that you need a termite on the VA for my newbies. Appraisal, they do have to pay for too, right?
Yes.
It's always, they pay through the lender. So I remind them of that, and that's usually about $500. Home warranty, this is where we go into like, I recommend you to get one, or do you need one? And usually I end up paying for them now, because I don't want to ask a seller for one, but that's up to you guys. Like, I'm famous for giving away my money, even though I shouldn't. But you cover it, and you want to cover it because it is part of the contract too. So when you're going through the contract, like the option money is going to be on there, the earnest money is going to be on there. So you're hitting these, but then they also aren't new when you go over the contract. I also remind my people with repairs that when you have your inspection, you want to cover the top 5 things. Like, we don't want to nitpick in today's world, and we probably don't want to cover all of the top 5 either, or ask for basically anything. No, I'm just kidding. But you want to focus on the roof. You want to prepare your people. We're focusing on the roof. We're focusing on electric. We're focusing on foundation, HVAC, and plumbing. So that's another thing for my new people out there. Like, you definitely want to make sure that you're covering those, and don't let people think that they can ask for 400 light switches to be replaced. And I don't know, whatever else comes up. But, and then again, you, huh? Yeah, well, and you give them, when you go through it, like, this is your inspection, you can ask for whatever you want, this is how I'm guiding you. Is that right, Rich? Okay.
You can't technically tell a client.
You can't tell them what to ask for, but you can say, this is what we recommend, this is usually what you want to focus on, right? Those are our big ticket items. Okay, any questions? Next slide. This is where I blame it all on the lender. And I say, work closely with your lender. And that's where, you know, I kind of joke with, like, this is, you're going to have to answer a billion questions. They're going to probably have to answer the same questions over again. It's very normal. Like, I know it gets frustrating. That's that whole smooth transaction piece from the very beginning, is that it is going to be stressful. They are going to ask you for stuff again. It's part of the process. Everybody goes through it. Just know, like, be patient, get your lender what they need, get it to them as quickly as you can. And that's it. Is there a next page? Okay, I was like, oh, I haven't done this in a while then. Any questions? I know she did great at, like, giving you extra information. Mine was just to kind of show people how to do a buyer's presentation, because I thought we'd have more new people here. But also,
Buyer's presentation, if you want me to go over it, but you hit on all the key points.
yeah, just like connecting with your people, it gives you time. Once, and Fiona's good at, like, just going buy whatever. I need something to go off of. I need something to keep me on track, to keep me talking, because I get nervous. I know it's hard to believe. I get nervous around people and talking, but I really do, especially when it's people I haven't met before. But I can't explain enough how, like, that CMA that you do, or express enough to, like, just set them up for knowing, like, we're just not in the market, and people are going to have to do. I mean, I have had clients that had to lose on 4 or 5 homes before they realized, okay, now we're going 75,000 over asking. You know what I mean? Like, it's been crazy. Like,
See, I can't do like a PowerPoint presentation, so that's why I have my little booklet with just sheets of paper, and I kind of just scribble on them and sit across.
well, that's what I do. I present that book. I don't have my computer with me or anything.
Okay, 'cause, yeah,
I just
can't
do the book.
I can't
Yeah.
do a PowerPoint. What you
No,
do
I
is
just
take
go through my
notes.
slides. I flip through the pages. What did you have, Rich?
Well, I probably missed it, I'm sure you went over some of it. Did you guys go over how you explain to someone that they may have to go over the price of the home?
You should have seen Fiona's little
Oh,
presentation.
okay.
Yeah, she had a good one.
No, because that's the big thing with expectations, same with the lender, even though you don't want it to sound horrible, but if you set the expectation that there's gonna be these things that are gonna aggravate you, that they're much more to accept it.
Yeah.
You just say, oh, don't worry, it's all gonna go smoothly, then they're gonna have a worse experience for you set a realistic expectation. Well, right.
Yeah.
However, the market is constantly changing, so what I'm saying 2 weeks ago is not necessarily today. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've been showing houses where there's no offers.
Yeah.
we're
Well,
the
and I
only-
think it's
we're the
neighborhood
only offer.
specific too. Yeah.
We're the only offer, but now the seller has the expectation that we're going over lists and paying trial and all this. So when you present a solid offer, list price, no seller concessions, you know, I want a home warranty, the seller's freaking out and upset. But that's on the listing agent.
Well, that's part of the problem. You can set yours, sometimes the other agent sets their one expectation.
That is very true.
Yeah.
But we've gone from
That's
seeing
typical.
15, 20 offers on a house to one. or
One,
three.
I agree 100%. And I hope everybody can hear what Fiona's saying, is that right now we are back in fall. We are back in, things are slowed down. You know, I have my people that want to list that are calling me, and it's like, oh, like, well, now they think they're going to get, you know, 25,000 over and 15 offers. Well, no, we've actually slowed down, and maybe it'll be the case again in spring, who knows? But I think it's neighborhood specific too. I think, you know, you can still find multiple offers over here in Helotes, but you're not finding them at Redbird Ranch right now. You know what I mean? So, like, it's so good to set your people up for expectations. And that's where it's good for us to be smart. It's good for us to communicate as agents, you know, and see, like, hey, what's going on out there? What, you know, I think that's why these are great. There was something else I wanted to say about new agents setting an expectation.
Can you say this in case I can't hear me? I'm gonna include this that I sent out because I had some agents ask me for something like this, just to go over with
photocopy on the.
What is that? What?
This is like a virus, like when you're sitting down, it's a strategy worksheet. Here, let me. I've never even seen one. See, we're all different.
So I had a team give me something like this to type up that they use. And so this is one that I will send out. So it's a strategy worksheet for working with buyers. And it's good too, because you're also, if you notice at the top, you're capturing like if there's birthdays, you can put that into your CRM. So you're not just capturing their cell phone and email, but then it goes through the needs of course, like how many bedrooms and baths, but it also goes through, other expectation things. Do you want to add anything? Or I'll put this here now for you guys.
Working with finance. I'm gonna send it out. It is in the shared drive, but I will send it out. The Google.
So yeah, I wouldn't discourage agents from writing aggressive offers. I mean, you know what always happens, you write an offer and then another offer comes in. Or the seller sits on it for 5 days until something else comes in. But I've been getting great offers accepted. Yeah. Ones that I never thought would.
I agree.
I feel like, oh, that's what I was thinking earlier. is like, I do think it's always very good for, especially our new agents, to actually do a CMA. Like, don't just go out there and think, well, it's listed at 320. Let's go ahead and go in at 340 right off the bat, right? Like, do your homework as an agent. Go in there, see if it is, because some agents are overpricing them. Some agents are overpricing because that's what their clients are wanting them to do. So, yeah, and open door.
Open doors, they're always like 10, 15,000.
They're so far over right now, but like, I can't express enough, do your CMA for your client, before you offer, especially when it's a little bit slower right now, or if you don't know how many offers are on the house or whatever, like, don't just go in 15,000 over right off the bat, unless you for sure know that neighborhood and you're familiar with it, like, always do your homework.
So the document that I showed you guys is not a CMA. It's just an overview of home sales. I hate doing CMAs because I feel like the data is just so buried. I like doing this overview because it's right there. And you have to kind of look at them sometimes, one might have a pool, one might be a total rehab. But if your client wants a real CMA, do it, but this will just give you the overview.
But I think this is good, like, I like how you're saying the overview.
It's just a
I
snapshot.
for everything in this snapshot, this is great for buyers because it actually breaks down. Look, nobody does it for closing costs, look at the average days on market, okay, they asked for this, and you can see that what's the difference, if they go over to the under. I mean, look at the pictures of the houses too, for a real CMA, definitely for listing people, but this looks like it's easy for the people to read and understand too.
I use this on all my listings too. Because you can see, if something's vastly overpriced, it's sat on the market for so many more days, and then they have to price reduce it.
I would be afraid to show them this because then they're gonna expect to list it at 295 and somebody come in at 315. They're gonna expect people to come in that much higher. So I feel
But you know what I would say? What I would say is they probably have a realistic list price on there, and that's why it went over too. Like, I would guard yourself right away. Don't be like, they didn't go to the high end of the market and then expect
Right.
20,000
This
over.
is 3,400 square feet. So in my opinion, this list price is way too low for a house that's that large. And obviously the buyers agreed.
Yeah, you can still see the price per square foot.
And it was on almost a quarter acre lot, so it's a huge house on a huge lot. So it warranted. But you can manipulate that and put in, like I said, 1 story, 2 story, number of bedrooms and bathrooms, square feet, so you get a reasonable number of houses. I just did that really quickly.
Yeah, essentially, Fiona could have just left this one out and it would have matched up way better with this market. Right? Oh, which is not.
See, but like, so here's the problem we're seeing, right? So this house right here sold for 315. This guy right here was like, all right, well, I'm gonna get 315. He's on the market 45 days.
Yeah.
So realistically, they probably need to be closer to their original list price of 295.
and then they'll get there.
And the
It's
325 is now selling for 297.
Yep.
Well, it's 10 days.
Do you guys want to talk about the appraisal addendum at all? Are you guys familiar with that? You are?
You.
Promote it.
Have you guys used them? I mean, that's critical, because I mean,
So I think the appraisal addendum too is really good. I'll let you speak to it more. I know for me, the majority of my clients are VA people and I can't use the appraisal addendum. You cannot use the appraisal addendum for the VA.
so what do you do, April?
So, I just recently had to do this again, is I use special provisions, right? Rich?
Yes.
I'll let you know when you tell me what you did.
Well, so we just said that, and I have to go back and look, because I really like to be very specific on my wording, but it was like buyer agrees to pay 5,000 over appraised value up to like, I think it was 440, right? Or no, 430, we offered 430, it was listed at 420, and we wanted to offer over, but if it only came in at 420 versus 430, they were gonna pay 425. Right, so, but I was very specific in the wording to say like, up to this, like, 430.
So the way I write mine will state buyer has $5,000 to cover in case of an appraisal shortage, not to exceed the contract sales price. So basically, if the house appraised for $10,000 low, my client only has $5,000 to cover the gap. Now, if it
No.
comes in $2,000 low, it's not gonna exceed the sales price, so they're only gonna pay the $2,000 difference. Make sense?
Rich,
But the seller would be able to opt out if it raised at 15,000 below, right?
Yes,
He doesn't have to accept just
Yeah.
5,000.
but I'm just letting you know
Yeah.
because of VA and FHA.
And that's the main thing, I think, is letting the person know what the capabilities of your client is. And even if it goes to having them talk to the lender, because the perception for some people with VAs is, oh, they don't have any money, they don't have cash. So you have to get over that, especially with VAs.
Yeah.
I had a VA client, it's $40,000, I put it on every contract.
Yeah.
They were willing to pay up to 40,000, and I just had a listing where I had many offers and many way over list price. I had to call and ask, well, what's, you just offered $40,000 over on a $300,000 house. Is your client, what's their plan if we don't appraise?
Right.
Oh, well, we'll deal with that later. Well, I don't want to deal with it later, I want to deal with it now, and my seller wants to know if they should take offer A over your offer C.
Yeah, because they have that backup of like, yeah, we're gonna pay this, or we have that, like, and I think you wanna show that, like.
So I've written in special provisions on probably 10 plus offers and written in, whatever Rich told me, right?
I was gonna say, and if you feel like you're gonna write special provisions, ask Rich.
Yep.
What you should write.
Yeah, we
just
still want
make
to try to
sure.
avoid that if we can.
Yeah,
But
But
the
if you're-
VA is tough because they make it difficult to not.
And then I also include on the cover letter, on my email cover, just outlining,
Yeah.
and be very clear, because if you check the box on the title policy, your buyer's paying for it, some agents don't even notice it. So you want to point out,
I agree with that 110%. Like, when you send your email for your offer, I love when other agents break it down for me, but especially if your buyer is paying title policy, and there's agents out there who probably won't even pay attention to that box, because there's some really not wonderful agents out there that don't know what they're doing. So like, they might not even show, but I say it, offer is this, closing is this, conventional loan. Please note, buyer will pay title policy, which saves your person, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of money that you're giving back to the seller.
yeah, so I always make it as easy as I can for the listing agent. When they were getting 10 offers, I mean, it's overwhelming to doing that sheet on 12 offers. And present them all so that,
Like, I always break down the major points, I love when agents do it for me, but like, the one is this, yes, like, closing is this, title is this, the options is this.
oh, and love letters. I say write your love letter.
You like this?
My people do, I know they're trying to get away from that, and I know like it might be
There's arguments on
a
both
big
sides.
busy.
My sellers love love letters, they want to know who's buying their house. They
I
want to know.
100% have had, just in the past year, two people not take the highest offer because of the letter.
Me too.
One's like $5,000 difference.
Mine was probably more than that, or 10,000, I think.
So you had no sellers that didn't want to see the letter.
I did.
You had some
I
that,
have
yeah.
They're like, don't.
Because I think
because
they
you're
feel
gonna get so
the
many-
pressure, yeah.
The husband doesn't want to see him
Yeah.
because the wife's gonna fall for him.
Yeah.
That's how we got our last
I would
house.
be opposite.
Jamie wrote letters. And
No, the argument from the, like, a track compliance side is that it could lead to discrimination.
And I
That's
get
why
it,
you
I
like to
understand
use
that.
except that person, so.
I was buyer here. The listing agent was pretty mean. He actually told me exactly what to offer to win it. He shouldn't have done that, but he did. Great communication back and forth. I gave him everything, right? And my client, even though I told him not to, they wrote a letter. They were gay. I never heard from that agent again. Like, he did not respond to me anymore, and my clients were like, that's why. And so they think that it was discrimination.
Right.
But I don't know if that really was, but it was just so obvious that he just quit all communication.
But that's where
Which
it's
that's
hard,
hard to
because
say.
it's like,
Do I?
I definitely, yeah. I feel
But
like
that's
I
a
have
conversation you have with your sellers, it's a conversation you have with your buyers,
Yeah.
and you let them know what could happen.
Yeah.
I've had a seller work with me.
Right. I mean, some names are very obvious what their nationality is, and if they truly want to display their age.
And you can get a read from the house too, if it's an occupied house.
Yeah.
You know, if they're military or they went to this college, so you.
I'll be thinking about it.
So honestly, I would go as far as to like tell them a love letter, and like, look through the pictures of the house, you know, what do they like? Do they
Yeah.
like music? Are they into concerts? Do they like their pets? Like, do
Exactly.
they have a dog? Do they love gardening? You know, and then you cater your love letter to what you think. But we'll see how much longer we can do with it.
Are there any questions online?
Yeah, what questions do you guys have?
I have a question. What do y'all answer when your clients ask you how much should they expect for closing costs? What do you usually say?
Talk to your lender.
Yeah, ask the lender. I mean, there is an app.
I love
You
the
guys
app.
use the app, but I always, it's an estimate, but I always really.
Yeah, everyone should
I
have
love
the app
Josh.
though, for sure too. I mean,
Are you
everyone
talking
should have
about
the app.
that?
What's
Like
that?
all the title companies, I use the Chicago app.
Chicago. Usually
Any lender uses the same title, it'll just be branded.
Yeah,
So mine's Independence title, it's the exact same if it's Chicago title, it's the exact same if it's
Yeah.
whatever one.
Do you give them a quick figure?
Yeah.
I use this all the time on every offer that I get, so if I'm a listing agent, every offer will get a net sheet. When I'm a buyer's agent, you can do it in the house, it's really quick, the only thing you have to change really is the property taxes.
And you can look those up on VCAD.
Yep,
But whenever, lenders always want to meet with us, and so whenever I ask them about that, they always say they don't want us to provide any numbers.
well, and of course it comes with a disclaimer, I'm not your lender, this is
And
just a
I don't
ballpark
like
estimate.
to do it, because I do feel like it's different, right? If they charge origination.
but people want to know, they want to know what's my
Yeah.
payment.
But because I have an amazing lender, he always answers pretty quickly, so.
I pull up the price on almost every house and it really helps make a decision. And usually my estimates are $100 over. It's always on the high side, which is
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
But, I always follow it up with talk to your lender.
Yeah, I'll quote high.
But the net sheet too, if you don't use it through the title company, it's really awesome. It's really easy. You can just text it straight to them, screenshot it.
This, y'all, two of you mentioned Chicago, so is it Chicago Agent 1? Is that the app?
Yeah, station.
Which title company do you like to use?
Frontier Title.
So it's probably Frontier Title, Agent One.
If they have one, they might be one.
They might not.
Yeah.
Talk to your rep.
There's
They should have one.
also the Independence title.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're all branded the same.
Okay.
So. It's all
So is that
all
what
that
that
they have
makes
the same.
sense?
What's that?
They charge the same charge.
Who has the best app?
They're all the same app.
It's all the
It's
same.
all the same app. It's just branded with.
They're
There
There
is
is strong fees.
I think there's like 2 different ones.
Okay, because I have First American and I have Capital Title, so there's no reason we could get another one for all.
No.
Yeah.
Questions? Any advice, since we know that we do things very differently, like. Yeah.
I'm curious, so after the offer gets accepted, I have like an email that I got the idea from someone else, but it's like an email that says, you have your option period ends this date, da, da, da. Do you have kind of something that you send to them, or what do y'all do, or do you just stay in communication and just keep reminding them through phone calls, or what do y'all do? What's the
Them,
offer
like
that's
your
accepted?
client? Your client or the team? Or your?
Yeah.
or the other
Yes,
agent?
your client.
I have it on my calendar, I don't know that I don't send them anything, but I always just get that inspection done as quickly as possible, like I always am. And if you are on the buyer side, I cannot stress enough, like, get your inspection done as quickly as possible, and don't be putting your repairs in on the last day to the other agent. Like, we all are the same thing, we all are the same thing, like, so if you can do it as soon as possible, get it done as soon as possible, so they have time to react, right? Because otherwise we have to extend.
Yeah.
I have a good question for you guys. How do you do it? Like, do you, as a buyer, are you getting your people in there to get quotes all the time, or do the listing? Because I feel like I've recently hit.
Well, let me go back and answer your question. So what I do is, I do a congratulations next step email. And it's, once you go into contract, it's fast. You have 3 days, you either set up your wire transfer and you have to get your earnest option. Option is critical. Like some clients or buyers are just like, oh, whatever. No, if you don't get your option money in 3 days, you have no option. No way to back out. You've got to find other loopholes to get out of the contract. So on my congratulations email, it's earnest money, option money, inspections. I'm gonna need to get inspections ordered like instantly. I give my clients a list, I'm gonna shop around, or I'll offer to schedule for them. But like the HHI website, they're really easy. You can just go online, you can see exactly who's got open spots, and you can usually get them in.
So you do
2
the
days.
congratulations next steps now.
Every time.
And you put the date for the option.
Yep. You were asking what now? What do we do?
Do you work through the repairs for your buyers? Like, are you good in there getting quotes or the listing? Like, is it,
Oh, listen, you. I just asked for what we want fixed.
I think it just depends, because I feel like I've had some lazy listing agents that like they don't answer.
Cashing over repairs is always better unless it's gonna be a lender required repair. Because the seller's never gonna fix something to the same standard of what your buyer would do. They're always gonna go the cheapest route. So if you can do cash, unless it's, wood rot on a VA house or clearly roof or foundation, and that's where you stick to your 5 key. But it's up to the seller, but you have to pull your buyers in that the seller is not gonna spend the same kind of money you would if it was something you were gonna stay in live in.
Now, a lot of people ask, well, what if it, like, if it's on the fence, whether it's gonna be a lender required repair, that's still a whole nother negotiation, so you can adjust things at that time. So if you decide to go cash and then something does pop up as a lender required repair, you can adjust whatever the cash was out there. The seller has to spend $500 and give you $1,000 to top that off there. Change it at that time.
Like my buyer clients, there was a rusty, leaky water heater. Well, they wanted a tankless water heater, so we just negotiated a repair. It didn't come up on appraisal, it was a VA, and they put the money towards a new tankless.
What if an appraisal, because I just had this, where my people got money in the repairs for a stove and a dishwasher, like the VA appraisals don't go in there and turn on the stoves, do they?
You have to have a stove with a VA.
I know you have to have a stove, but will they actually turn it on and make sure all 4 burners work, because one of them wasn't working, so we're just.
But
like,
is that actually true? I just had a VA and it was a gas stove and there was no stove in the house.
And they passed it?
And they passed it.
Wow.
But my people were coming from their current residence, they had a gas stove that was theirs, they had purchased and they intended to take it with them. So maybe they just wrote that in a letter and wanted to send it to the lender, I don't know, but yeah, there
I'm
was no
surprised, I would
stove.
have thought it would have had enough, so.
But the appraiser doesn't always go in a house anymore,
Well,
right?
that's
Like,
true.
I feel like
And
that's
so
where
maybe
it's-
that's why they didn't see it.
Was it pictured in the pictures? Did it have a stove in it on the online pictures?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the appraisal is always a gamble, because you never know who you're gonna get and what they're gonna call and what they're gonna say, so it's.
Yeah, my people were freaking out, they were like, I think we have to have a new stove and dishwasher in there before the freezer goes, and I was like, no, I'm pretty sure. So, I don't think it's gonna turn on. Oh, wait and see though. We'll see what
I
happens.
haven't seen a lot of letter required repairs. It almost seems like they are not.
They're not really going out there with COVID and,
They're 3 doors behind.
yeah. Okay, all right, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Fiona got me this morning, called me.